Alright, in this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through some of the important steps you're going to need to keep in mind when it comes to object removal. So, sometimes you're going to have a picture in which there's some part of it that you might want to get rid of. For some reason, you might be irritated or frustrated by its existence and you want it to be gone. This procedure is not simple for a lot of things, because what's behind your object that you're trying to remove is whatever is actually behind it, but you don't have a picture of that. So you generally have to use existing elements to make up what is behind it. Right now, if I select something on this picture and I try to get rid of it, there's not something behind it. It's just white dead space. So you have to be very careful and crafty in how you go back and make things disappear from an image. So in this example, this picture that I have right here, what I'm going to be looking for is to delete one of those items on the desk. So what I want to start off with, I'm going to get rid of this clock that's over here. Okay. Now it can be a little easier to do this if you make a couple of adjustments to this picture. So first, this is a picture of a desk. If you look on the right hand side, you'll see that there's this little checkerboard with a lock symbol. That means that when you erase something, the background is white, because this is the background, okay? And I want to make it so that the background that we get is actually translucent. And this will just kind of help make our picture not have weird white places on it. So if you click on that, it makes it so that the picture's background is this translucent, okay? This translucent like background. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit, Command plus to zoom in, and I'm going to scroll over to where this clock is. So this is what I kind of want to look at. If I'm trying to get rid of this clock, I need to notice how it is impacting this desk. So right now I can see the clock is right here. There's a little bit of a shadow kind of happening down here. It kind of has a shadow up on the side wall. And so I'm going to have to keep those things in mind when I go through and get rid of this. So it's more than just highlighting this with my quick selector tool and deleting it, because as you could tell, there's nothing there. And I don't just want to cover it up with an object. I want to make it so that it was never there in the first place. There's going to be a lot of times in which you want stuff to disappear and you never knew it was there. Like getting rid of people, it's hard to cover them up with somebody else. So, Command D deselects so that I can start to move on to the next kind of phase. So, what's behind this clock? Well, it looks like there's more of this wall color right here, there's more of this desk right here, and there's more of this wall right here. So it's kind of like there's three layers. And this is actually pretty simple. I want to have a copy of maybe some of this desk that doesn't have anything going on, and copy it and paste it over the top. Well, that's not that difficult. Let's take this little section right there. I'm going to press Command C to copy, Command V to paste. You can tell that I have a second layer now. It's over here on the right. And if I click on the selector tool, I can then select this little wall section and kind of drag it over. Now you're going to notice that this is not perfect, right? Once I drop that down, it looks weird. You can see that the shading is still a little wonky right there. There's still some shadows going on right over there, like there should be some wall piece that's not there. So I'm going to have to go in and just do some more modifications. But before I do that, you're going to notice that there's going to be a problem. I can spot heal only one of these layers, okay? So if I try to do some spot healing, it doesn't do anything over on this background. It does it only on this second layer. Command Z to undo. So what I might want to do before I do any of this blending, if I want to blend these two layers together, I need to merge them together. So over here on the right, I can click on layer 1. I can hold down the shift key. I can select a second layer. And now I have both of them selected, and I can go in and I can merge them. Okay? At the top of the screen, underneath the layer drop-down menu, which apparently you can't see, you can see there's this thing that says merge layers. It's under layer and merge layers. There's also a shortcut, Command E. And when I press that, it flattened those two layers together. Now when I use the spot healing brush, it goes between both of those layers. I'm pretty far zoomed out, so there's going to be some of this. It's going to be a little bit easier if I zoom in and maybe make my brush size a little bit smaller. So I can kind of go in there and try to do just a little bit of blending. And again, it's best to do small bits at a time. And if it doesn't look good like that, Command Z to go back. Maybe just a tiny little touch up along some of this edge. Oh, that doesn't look good. Do part of this. The shadow shouldn't really exist that much because there's no clock to cast it. So I might have to do some modification with this. Right along here, that looks pretty bad. So I might want to go in and kind of modify this whole area. This area right over here is so dark compared to the rest of it. So I might even go in and do what I just did again. Go back over, grab an area that looks all right. Grab an area that looks all right. Copy it, paste it to make a new drop layer. And maybe I'll keep it looking like this. And maybe I'll copy and paste another layer, and maybe even rotate it so that it kind of fills this space a little bit better. There's going to be some things that you're going to have to do to help make this look like the object shouldn't be there in the first place. Click on these layers, hold down the Shift key, select them. Command E merges them together, or again under the drop down layer, and go in and use your brush to make it look all right. You don't really want to do like a paint drop bucket of layers because it just won't look good. There's too much going on with the coloration to make it so that the coloration and texture to just try to dump layers like that. And if I press Command minus to zoom out, it looks pretty decent. I can still see that I have some work here. This looks like it's shaded, this looks like it's lit up, and I'm not really sure what's going on. So when you are trying to get rid of an object, again, you want to get rid of it. Think about where all the shadows are going to be. Because again, if you've got some shadows there, you can't take an object away and then leave the shadows behind because it'll look pretty obviously bad. Get rid of those things that shouldn't be there. Find area nearby that looks good, like it should be there. And then do a little bit of copying and pasting to help fill in some of the gaps. And then once you have filled in some of those gaps, merge those layers together. You can even stretch some of this out. Merge some of those layers together so that it looks like it fits where it's supposed to be. And do some blending. Make sure you're selecting the correct layers when you're trying to take some of the space away. I'm just going to keep working at this. Your goal is to finish with the clock. See if you can get rid of the clock and make it look like it doesn't belong. If you can pick another object to make look good and paste it over and get rid of it, you should try doing that as well. Ooh, looks like I copied some stuff I don't want. I can erase that from this layer because it's the only layer I have selected. And I'm just going to keep going on this. Work on getting rid of one of these objects, and then work on getting rid of another object. And good luck.